Teddy Bridgewater carted off the field. Drew Lock inserted into the lineup. A costly mistake for the Broncos, and now their playoff chances in some serious jeopardy as they fall to the Cincinnati Bengals 15-10. Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Broncos Postgame Show. Here in studio, I am Phil Milani, joined as always by Todd Davis. Todd, this was really a game of two halves. Defense dominating in the first half, and then in the second half, some wild plays out there. This is a game that not many people will find interesting or fun, but for me, being a defensive player, it was great to see two defenses battle it out. The Broncos had a lot of momentum in the second half. You thought we were going to come away with the win, but a costly fumble in the red zone, really cost us the game. 15-10, the final. That's a weird score. Let's show you how everything unfolded. In the second half, here's a scary moment for Teddy Bridgewater. Hit as he was diving for a first down. Reported that it was a head injury. He was taken to a local hospital as a precaution. But good news, Todd, is that he was moving all of his extremities. Absolutely. You hate to see players go down or teammates go down. We're praying for the best. Glad that he's moving all his limbs and hoping for the best. Yeah, really a scary play there. Drew Lock comes in here, and then the game just completely changed. He finds Tim Patrick here, 25-yard touchdown. Patrick's fourth touchdown of the year. The Broncos up 10-9. Todd, sometimes when there's a change back there, it can give the team a little bit of a spark. Huh? I think this was the momentum shift that the team needed at that time. The offense really couldn't get anything going. And Drew Lock, he came in and provided a spark. Yeah, sometimes just give your receiver a chance, and that's what he did on that play there. The Bengals, though, bounced right back. The Broncos defense had been playing so well. Tyler Boyd slips past everybody, 56-yard touchdown. Burrow has 12 touchdowns of 30-plus yards this season, the most in the NFL, Todd. What happened? That's a tough play. That's called the high play. All night long, they were running the outside zone, and this is kind of like the play off of it. The wide receiver gets lost in traffic. Guys don't know whether it's my man or his man. If we're in zone, we're passing it off. If it's man to man, then I got to go and run with them. It's a tough play all the way around, and it worked for the Bengals tonight. The Bengals go up there, but it looked like the Broncos were going to respond. A long drive going. Lock on a keeper here, though, fumbles the ball. Kareem picks it up, but then it looks like he fumbled and Garrett Bowles recovered, although they said that Kareem was down on the play. Todd, what a crazy play there. Take us through it. I mean, what happened? That was crazy all the way around. The game went from no action to instant action. It's tough because, Drew fumbles the ball and the Bengals recover it, and it looks like, the Broncos get the ball back. But because the guy went to the ground as Drew was trying to tackle him or get the ball back, they call him down by contact. And it's tough because you were pulling for Drew Lock to make a play or make something happen with his legs, and a costly fumble. That one really hurt. The Broncos able to get the ball back. Next possession, 3rd and long here. Courtland Sutton can't quite come up with it. That would have been a very tough catch, though. And then the last chance for the Broncos, it would have taken a miracle pretty much at this point, but Drew Lock sacked on the play, and the Broncos fall to 7-7 on the year. The final in this one, 15-10. Let's go out to Empower Field at Mile High and check in with our A-team.
Thanks so much, Phil. Eric, it wasn't an elimination game, but the stakes really couldn't have been much higher here for the Denver Broncos, who needed a win to keep their playoff hopes alive. This game kind of reminded me of that Kansas City game where the defense does everything they can do, but the offense just can't put points up on the board. What did you think was the biggest issue for this Broncos offense today?
Yeah, when Teddy Bridgewater was in there, the Broncos still need to find a way to be able to throw the ball effectively. They weren't able to get chunk plays, and just a little too hard when you have to kind of move it in these small increments. They stopped the run. The Bengals are really good against the rush. They kind of dared the Broncos to beat them through the air. They couldn't do it in the first half. And then in the second half, when Drew Lock comes in, he does move the ball, but unfortunately there, as we've seen so many times, the turnover there in the red zone is so critical. Broncos have a chance to go ahead. Instead, they can't get back down there and fall 15-10.
Like I mentioned, the Denver defense, they kept them in this game, even without key guys like Draymond Jones, Malik Reed, even Kenny Young. I know he would have loved to, get his hands on Joe Mixon a little bit, but who stepped up and impressed you most here today?
Yeah, well, talking about Kenny Young, I thought Jonas Griffith did a nice job at inside linebacker in his first career start. Justin Simmons gets a sack, the 3rd of his career. That was a nice play design. And then I thought the secondary in general just kind of stuck with their guys. There was that one busted coverage that obviously came back to bite the Broncos, but really to hold them to 3 field goal drives the rest of the game, the defense did almost everything they could. And against Joe Burrow, I don't know how you can ask for much more.
Well, speaking for all of Broncos country, Teddy Bridgewater is on our mind. What is the latest on him, and what does that scene there when he was being carted off the field really say about what this team thinks about Teddy?
Yeah, well, I mean, during the game, the Broncos announced he'd been taken to a local hospital, had movement in all his extremities, which is good to hear. But the scene down here is what I'm kind of thinking about right now. Fans started chanting Teddy. Both teams are on the field. Vic Fangio standing out there, all his teammates. It's just kind of a scary scene. Obviously, we'll learn more, I'm sure, in the coming hours and days, but just hope for the best for Teddy.
Yeah, thinking of him with 3 games left here on this schedule, like I said, this wasn't an elimination game, but the Broncos' chances, they are now pretty slim when it comes to ending their postseason drought. So what do they need to do here down the stretch to maybe make the playoffs?
Yeah, this one hurts because it's against a team that was going to be in the race, in the wild card race. This Bengals game, the Chargers game in a couple weeks, those were the 2 big ones. If you win the last 3 and get to 10-7, it's possible you could get some help and get in, but that's kind of what it's about now. Is you're going to need some help in addition to taking care of business. The Broncos defense is playing well enough right now. The offense, I think, has to match that sort of intensity, that sort of impact on the game for the Broncos to be able to get back in the race.
Well, hopefully they can win out. That'll start Sunday up against the Raiders in Las Vegas. Phil, let's send it back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. Todd, let's talk about this Broncos offense. All first half, really can't get anything going, can't stay on the field. A scary play to Teddy Bridgewater. He leaves the game on a stretcher. And then in comes Drew Lock. Seemed like things were going, but really the MO on Drew is a high reward, but then the costly mistakes come along with that.
Yeah, we thought that it was going to be the spark that the team needed to really, push to get a win. But, as the game went on, there was a costly fumble that really cost the team the game. As far as the first half, it just seemed like the offense hasn't been able to click. I feel like Courtland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy still aren't getting the touches that they need to be a big impact on the game as they should. So hopefully we can get that changed around. I mean, we have 3 games left to try and figure out a strategy to head into the playoffs strong, but we got to get our playmakers the ball. That's the number one key moving forward.
Javonte Williams, 72 yards rushing. Melvin Gordon, 53 yards rushing. But it looked like the Bengals were saying, hey, if you're going to beat us today, you're going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah, I think that was their game plan. They loaded the box, and they made it tough on the Broncos to run today. And they put the pressure on Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock. If you're going to beat us, it's going to have to be through the air. And the Broncos weren't able to get it done today.
Drew, in that situation with the fumble, it's a keeper like that. Part of his game, but what did you think about the call in that moment? It seemed like the running game, the passing, it was all working. But Drew getting the ball in that situation, what did you think?
I liked the call. I thought it was a changeup, something to keep the Bengals on their toes. And I feel like it would have worked. 9 times out of 10, when you make that juke, and the player has one hand out, you end up breaking that tackle and you're able to make some plays. But luckily, the defender was able to get his hand right on the ball. And that usually doesn't happen. That's kind of just bad luck on the Broncos side for him being able to get his hand in that placement. So it didn't work out, but if it had, everybody would have been saying it was a good call.
Exactly. That's how those things usually play out. Here's what Drew Lock had to say after the game.
I'm happy to hear that Teddy's all right. I think everyone in that locker room is happy to hear that Teddy's all right, and we'll be looking forward to the next time we get to see him. But, this being the 3rd time, I felt like I was, I'm ready to go out there. I think I'm going to look at this film, and there's going to be a couple plays I want back, like there is in every single football game. But I think we also did some good things when we were out there. My number one thing is just got to be taking care of the football. I have, put the ball on the ground twice, and way too many for me personally.
All right, back here in studio with Todd Davis. Todd, you mentioned it in the last segment there, just getting the ball to playmakers. Courtland Sutton, one of those guys, just 2 catches out there today. It really seems like the last several weeks here really hasn't been able to get a lot going, just 2 catches, 1 catch. What do you think is going on with him? Doesn't quite look like himself.
Absolutely not. Courtland Sutton is a dynamic player, a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver, and one of the best in the league. Sometimes players get in ruts. Sometimes it's the wide receiver. Sometimes it's the quarterback. Sometimes he may drop a pass, and sometimes the pass is overthrown. And I feel like that's just what's happening with Courtland Sutton right now. How he gets out of it, that's purely up to him. It's a mental blockage there somewhere where he is not playing his best football right now. So I feel like he's a great player, a great role model, great leader. He'll find a way to make the catches. He'll find a way to make the big plays. And I look forward to seeing him do that next Sunday.
A long season for Courtland Sutton here, where he comes back from injury at the beginning of the year, has a couple of monster games. You know, the Jaguars game, that Steelers game stick out. Looks like he's back to full strength. And then even today, you know, on the long one, it seemed like he had a touchdown, kind of bounced off him. That big third down late in the game would have been a tough catch, but he had both hands on it there. Just doesn't look like the Courtland Sutton we're used to seeing.
Yeah, he's not himself right now. But I feel like he has all the capabilities to get back to himself. Courtland Sutton is one of the hardest working players I've been around. The way he was able to bounce back from his injuries and come back to be a great player once again, I think that he'll do it once again. I have nothing but faith in him to get his catching in order. I know he's the kind of player that likes to stay after practice to get things worked on and get better. So I look forward to seeing the best Courtland Sutton next week.
He won the Ed Block Courage Award for the Broncos earlier this week, and 3 games left to go. So the Broncos will certainly be counting on him to make some big plays down the stretch here. Let's go back out to the stadium now and check in with Sydney Jones as she's standing outside the Broncos locker room.
Here with Albert Okwuegbunam. Albert, when you have a teammate and a leader like Teddy Bridgewater go down in the way he did, how does the offense, continue on through the game? And do you guys play harder for him?
Yeah, it's really tough. A guy like Teddy goes down, really anybody. But, with the amount of leadership he has in our team, it really impacted us. But definitely, gave us that incentive to go harder and, try to pull off the dub for him. Unfortunately, that didn't happen tonight.
Right. Seemed like the offense couldn't really get going until, late in the third quarter. What wasn't working? Why couldn't you guys get in that rhythm?
Just shooting ourselves in the foot. We had a turnover in the red zone, some penalties, to start the drive. I feel like that's really what hurt us, the most today. Of course we had some misplays, some missed executions, but I think that one thing in particular is one thing that if we would have changed, we would have won this game.
The road ahead gets a little tougher for you guys now to reach the postseason. What do you want to see this team do within the final 3 games, going up against division opponents?
Really just, try to stack, all the wins ahead of us, win out. And, we still have a shot at making the playoffs. Unfortunately, we couldn't get these last 4 games, to secure us a spot. But, there's still that possibility. So just try to win the rest of these games and, see where we land.
Appreciate your time, Albert. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Back here in studio with Todd Davis. Todd, this Broncos defense was really dominant all day long. Gave up the one big touchdown on that play to Tyler Boyd, but aside from that, looked really, really strong.
They have been playing great. It's always tough when you're a part of a defense that plays well and you feel like the offense isn't able to carry their weight. They hold the Bengals to 249 yards of offense for a 13 on third down, 0 for 2 in the red zone. I mean, what more can you do as a defense? They could try to create a turnover or make a big play with an interception, but they really did their job today, and they continue to do their job. So hopefully the offense can step up and, lend them a helping hand.
Yeah, Burrow was just 15 of 22, 157 yards passing. He's so dynamic. You take away that one long pass, and he had like 100 yards on the day. I mean, coming into it, you would have thought you hold him to 100 yards, you're going to win this game.
And you should. I mean, you hold a dynamic player like that to 100 yards, you should win the game. That's just how it works out in the NFL. Even holding an offense under 300 yards, those are games that you should win. And I feel like the Broncos defense, like I said before, they're doing everything they can to ensure wins for the Broncos. We need some help from the offense.
Todd, this defense is going to say after the game here, we could make more plays. We could do more. We could get the turnovers, like you said. But really inside, they can't be happy right now.
No, I've definitely been in their shoes. I know when I've had to say the right thing to the media, but in my heart, I'm like, man, can we get some help? Just a little bit of help. I mean, we're doing everything we can to try and help our team win. Like, where's the help? I think it takes, it's 3 phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. They also need some help from the special teams as well. I feel like the Broncos special teams need to do more to create chances for our offense, put us in better field position. So I think the defense is playing well. We need 2 other phases to help us along the way.
Cannot expect the defense to be perfect every single play. You hold the team to 15 points at home. That you would think would be a win here. Let's go back out downtown and check in with Matt Boyer.
Outside the Broncos locker room with Bradley Chubb. Bradley, I got to start first by talking about Teddy Bridgewater, an emotional second half for you guys. Early reports are that he was conscious, feeling in his extremities, so that's a great sign, but just the emotions of seeing your teammate out there on the field.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, man. You saw it earlier in the week with Parham from the Chargers hitting his head on the ground and just being out cold. And you kind of saw it like when Teddy was just laying there. You never want that for your quarterback and for somebody that you go to battle with every day. And just to see him like that on the floor, it was a little traumatizing, but everybody just stuck together and we just tried to go out there and continue playing as hard as we could.
The defense this game, 4 of 13. The Bengals were held to 4 of 13 on 3rd down. Coach said that he was proud of the way the defense played, but the result isn't what you want. How do you internalize both of those things?
We just got to do more. We played okay, but we got to play great. You know what I mean? We got to get the ball out more. We got to score on defense. If our offense, is just a little behind, we got to pick up the slack and get that energy going on both sides. So, it's not pointing the finger at anybody. We just got to stick together and make sure we build around this.
The margin for error essentially 0 now for this team. 3 division games left. What's the message in the locker room after this one?
Just like you said, the margin of error is 0, man. We 3 division games coming up, and we got to make sure we get every single last one of them. So that's the mindset, and that's what we're going to do.
Bradley, appreciate the time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Matt. Time to wrap up the post-game show here. Todd, needed this game against the Bengals to really put yourself in a strong spot heading into the final 3 games for the playoff chances. But the Broncos not out of it yet. 3 tough division games coming up, though.
I've been in locker rooms where right now everybody's booking vacations and ready for the offseason, but this is not one of them. The Broncos still have a legit chance. I think they can beat the teams that are in front of them. If they play Broncos football or play like they have played against the Cowboys for the next 3 games, they could win them. So I feel like they're in the mindset of let's go get a win. Let's fight as hard as we can every week, and I hope that it pays off for them.
What about this team moving forward at the quarterback position? Obviously, our thoughts are with Teddy Bridgewater here. Hope that he's okay, but if it's going to have to be Drew Lock, do you think that this team can go on the road to Las Vegas and get a win?
I think that they can. I think that they're going to rely heavily on their offensive running game. I think they're going to need the offensive line to play big like they have, prior to this game. And I think the defense is going to have to step up once again. They may have to make some miraculous plays and get picks, force fumbles, maybe even score a few touchdowns on defense. But it's going to have to take some weight off of Drew Lock's shoulders, and other areas are going to have to step up for them to win some games.
Well, we'll see what happens here with the Broncos moving forward. But definitely a lot happened in this game against the Bengals. And like we mentioned, hopefully Teddy Bridgewater is doing okay. That's going to do it for us. The Broncos lose 15-10 to the Bengals. For Todd Davis, I'm Phil Milani. This has been the Broncos Postgame Show.